Okay, so 4 days down, one to go. It's the final day of Royal Ascot, and it's the turn of Simon Walker to run through the card. Simon, we'll jump straight into it with the Chesham Stakes, and we've got a short price favourite here in Natalie's Joy. Put up a really big time figure.
Yeah, she was really good first time out at Goodwood. No surprise that she's been installed a short price favourite because the level of form she showed that day was good enough to win an average renewal of this particular race. So she might not even need to improve. It's just a slight concern to me that sometimes horses that run to such a big figure first time out can occasionally recoil. It wouldn't be the first time that one from the Johnston Yard's done such a thing, and at bigger odds I'd rather side with Beyond Reason.
Okay, Beyond Reason 6-1 there. We'll move into the Hardwick now, and it's a really poor turnout. There's 6 runners heading to post, and Crystal Ocean 4 to 7ish at the moment. Really simple question. Can you oppose it?
No, not really. It's a thin renewal, as you've said. Last year's winner Idaho's been up and down since. Seems to be developing his own ideas about the game. Really, his form's certainly not as consistently good as it once was. And Crystal Ocean's destined for better things. He was really good last time out, and one would imagine he's going to be contending for Group 1 races further down the line.
For all that he's difficult to take on, I'm sure plenty will give it a go. And in Idaho, he is capable of better, and at 13-2, can you see people making a case for him? He was almost too bad to be true at Epsom last time.
Yeah, he'll probably leave that form behind, but even if he runs to the level of form he did when winning last year's race, I would still expect Crystal Ocean to take care of him. Sir Michael Stout's dominated this race in recent times, and I think this will be another winner for him.
So you'd leave this race alone from a betting perspective?
There's plenty of other races to get your teeth into.
Speaking of which, it's the Windsor Castle Stakes up next. 28 runners, all 2-year-olds, 5-1 the field.
Nigh on impossible. Really, really tough race. Not a great betting medium, but anybody who wants to have a bet in it, I think you could do worse than Kessar maybe. John Gosden's horse, number 9. Shaped well in a maiden at York, first time out, and although it needs to step up a lot, it's got a very similar profile to Gosden's winner in this a couple of years ago, Our Dad. Gosden's 2-year-olds tend to take big steps forward from 1 to 2. He's only had a couple of horses this season that have had more than one run, and they were both successful second time out. He's at long odds, he's got Dettori riding him, and it'll be no surprise to me if he does significantly better for that debut.
I imagine there'll be 5 places on offer with certain bookies in this race. Would you be playing each way at 25s?
If there's many places on offer as that, then you'd be tempted, but it's not very often they do in non-handicaps.
Okay, into the Diamond Jubilee then, and it's a race that really centres around Harry Angel for many reasons, none more so than the fact that whilst he's 3-1 favourite in this, he's 0 from 4 at Ascot.
Yeah, he's got the best form. His form at other tracks, he's good enough to win this. He's the best sprinter around, really, over 6 furlongs for sure. But doesn't bring out the best in him, does it? It can't be just coincidence now that his only 4 defeats have all come at Ascot, and I'd be looking elsewhere at the prices, probably towards Merchant Navy.
Yeah, Australian Raider, obviously now with Aidan O'Brien. How impressive was he at Naas? Was it nothing?
It was the Curragh.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He was... well, you wouldn't say he was wildly impressive, but it's the fact that he was conceding weight all round, and it was his first start for the O'Brien yard. A lot of horses that O'Brien's had over the years that have come from the Southern Hemisphere have taken time to get into things. This one didn't. He hit the ground running. I would imagine that they were pleasantly surprised that he was able to defy that weight first time out, and it'd be no surprise to me if he takes another step forward here, and I think at the odds I'd rather be with him than Harry Angel.
Could you make a case for the Tin Man? Won this last year, loves it at Ascot.
He'll probably run his race. He does go particularly well, as you just said, and he's shown himself to be in really good nick. I just think that a really fast 6 furlongs might just stretch him a little bit, and yeah, he'll give his race. I'm not going to put anybody off backing him. He wouldn't be no surprise if he reaches the frame, but I think I'd rather back Merchant Navy if I was going to have a win bet.
Okay, 4-1 Merchant Navy there. 2 to go. Onto the Wokingham now. 31 runners in this, and it's difficult not to start with Dreamfield, who is 4-1, which is ridiculously short considering everyone else, but it's because he looks at pattern performing the making.
Almost certainly. Still got an entry in the July Cup. He's gone up £8 for dotting up here on his reappearance, but that probably isn't enough. He's still almost certainly on the right side of the handicapper. I think my own advice, and what I'll probably do, is I'll back him to make sure I don't lose on the race if he wins. But it does mean that there were some really big prices about other interesting horses, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not very often you see 16 to 1 bar the favourite, is there?
No. And that leads us to Gilgamesh. I think Gilgamesh is interesting. He's got to step forward, undoubtedly, but he's still improving at the age of 4. And although he only won by a really narrow margin at York last time out, that was over 7, he bombed through the race, and I'm of the opinion that dropping back to sprinting, a really strongly run 6 furlongs on fast ground in a big field will see him improve again. And I think he's a really interesting runner at 16 to 1. You'll be able to get more than just the 4 places. Each way terms in this race, you can probably get 5, 6, maybe even 7. And I am going to back him each way, definitely at that 16 to 1ish.
So Gilgamesh each way there, and last but not least now the Queen Alexandra Stakes, and we've gone from talking about Aidan O'Brien and Australian Raiders to Willie Mullins having the favourite in the last race.
Yeah, he's a justifiable favourite. I mean, I first put the prices up for this race, and I thought, oh, crikey, can we get him beaten at that sort of price? But the bottom line is he's got an awful lot going for him. He's got the best form in the race. He's put up his best efforts for Ryan Moore. You've got no issues with regards the trip. The only possible issue you might have is if they crawl round as they did last year and he ends up being a bit lit up. But last year he had already had expended plenty of energy when winning the Ascot Stakes earlier in the week. He hasn't had that this time, and as long as Moore can get him settled, he's clearly the likeliest winner.
Is there anyone that you're sort of cautious about? Palisator had a reasonable season over hurdles, and it switches back now to the flat where he was smart in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that plenty of people will want to try and get Thomas Hobson beaten, but I've had a good look, and I've been through the Morrison horses and the Balding one that's stepping up considerably in distance, and Palisator himself, but really Thomas Hobson has got the best credentials for this race.
Brilliant, thank you very much for that.
No problem, mate.